Story 1. I wish I never had a father. Some poor parents cause so much trauma and insecurity in their children that they have to heal themselves as they grow older, and some never do. Story 2. My grandfather, whom the family believed died around 2014, was actually in witness protection for several years after his assumed death. He was not very communicative and lived far away from the rest of the family after my grandmother passed. When he did not respond to any calls for 6 months, my aunt flew to his house and found someone else living there. The only reason I know is that when he actually died, a lawyer came to the family with his will. Along with my portion, there was a letter apologizing for not being present during the most formative years of my life and briefly explaining that he had never returned for fear of our safety, as well as requesting that I not disclose this to the family. I do not know what he was involved with or why he thought it would be safer for him to disappear. Story 3. I dislike my mother. Everyone sees how much she did for me, but behind closed doors, she did nothing. It was always about her. Story 4. That car accident was much more traumatic than I have admitted. People think I am strong for being able to keep moving forward, but in truth, it's a coping mechanism to avoid a breakdown. I am afraid of driving now, and I have to mentally prepare myself just to drive to work in my rental car. Story 5. I actually do not have a degree. I lied about it to my parents and my boss, and it worked. They did not ask for proof. Story 6. My girlfriend's favorite flavor of freeze pops is blue. They are also my favorite, but when we first bought a box together, she expressed how much she loved the blue ones and mentioned that eating them one summer on the beach is one of her happiest childhood memories. After she shared the story, I jokingly said, "That's perfect because I dislike that flavor." It's been 10 long years watching her enjoy all the blue freeze pops in the summer, but her smile while eating them makes it worth it. Story 7. I was raped by my brother when I was younger. My godfather did the same. My good friend's brother also did. I never told anyone and never will. I know it would destroy my mom. She is the best mother ever, the true definition of a strong, independent woman. I feel like I always carry a heavy heart. I don't want to talk about it repeatedly, and I don't want sympathy. I just don't want to carry it on my chest anymore. I am tired. Story 8. My ex is a cocaine addict. I am a former addict and have been clean for 15 months. You all know now that I had a child, which helped me stay sober. Story 9. I'm quite certain I received a false positive for celiac disease 15 years ago. However, I'm currently living a gluten-free lifestyle and have no intention of retesting. Story 10. Just because I celebrate overcoming my suicide attempt each year, it doesn't mean I wouldn't try again in a moment if I knew for sure it would succeed. Story 11. I was blackmailed over an inappropriate video once. I told them to post it. I might as well turn my rock bottom into someone else's content. Story 12. I dislike my parents. I don't believe there is any good outcome from admitting this to anyone. Story 13. I feel extremely angry when I experience intense emotions. I have overwhelming thoughts of violence, which is a terrible feeling. I lose all sense of love and believe that making others fearful and hurt will somehow show that they care. I dislike feeling that way and tend to isolate myself until I regain my sense of humanity and shame. I never want to hurt anyone, but those thoughts are difficult to silence. Story 14. My mother believes that her father held her hand tightly all day right before he passed away because he loved her. I am certain he cared, but I was with him the day before when he was still talking and grabbing my hand repeatedly to try to lift himself out of bed to go to work, as he had dementia. He would relax when I told him it was his day off. However, I do not want to take that belief away from her. Story 15. My husband posted intimate photos and videos of me online, without my consent, due to a sex addiction that I was unaware of until years later. Story 16. I am feeling extremely overwhelmed. I have psoriatic arthritis and multiple sclerosis. Blood work in December and January indicated hyperthyroidism. April's blood work showed that my thyroid levels returned to normal, but my kidneys are at stage 3A kidney disease, or are they? I am not taking any medications until new blood work is done after a month without them to see if the kidney results were an anomaly. I am in so much pain and fatigued. My mind isn't clear at all, and I feel miserable. I believe brighter days are ahead. I don't want anyone else to worry until we know what to be concerned about. Story 17. I have a Reddit account. I feel safer expressing my frustrations on the internet where I am anonymous than being vulnerable with people who have already set high expectations of me. Story 18. Every day I think about ending it. However, I try to remain cheerful and happy around others, so they do not realize I am struggling. Story 19. How bad it got when I was being blackmailed and abused. People only know the diluted version. I have never told anyone the truly disturbing parts except for one person, and I am not even sure he understood what I was saying. Story 20. I own about 15 butt plugs. My girlfriend only knows about 5. I'm not sure what she would think if she knew the full number. Nobody else needs to know anything about my preferences. Story 21. My perfect boyfriend has a small penis. That is why he overcompensates with other gestures, and I still seem a bit frustrated at times. Story 22. As a widower hoping to date successfully one of these days, I face an ethical dilemma about how much to admit that I think about my wife every day. I'm not ready yet, but I do feel movement in that direction. As much as I'm leaning towards full disclosure, who would be okay with that? I will probably choose honesty unless desperation takes hold. Yes. No, I won't share any pictures of my pectorals. Story 23. I never existed. I'm just an illusion created by everyone's creative mind. In fact, this comment isn't real either. A dimension of reality where you see this comment proves that I am real, but I'm not. Story 24. I only exist because my mother stopped using birth control on purpose without my father's consent. I feel a strange amount of shame about this. Only 3 people knew, and they are either deceased or no longer in my life. Story 25. As an immigrant in the 1990s, I developed methods for analyzing data that could indicate financial fraud. I presented these methods to a few individuals, and they ultimately reached the Securities and Exchange Commission. Over the years, I have created and assisted in the creation of numerous data analysis techniques. My most significant contribution was an anonymizer that allowed a subset of real data to be shared with testers and others who verify the effectiveness of these methods. I have returned home, but I continue to consult for approximately 200 hours each year. In summary, I help identify financial fraudsters. Story 26. I'm feeling depressed, but I understand that it's manageable. My psychiatrist is allowing me to increase my medication for bipolar disorder, which should help. Story 27. I have come very close to ending my life. The only reason I did not go through with it is that I do not want my friends to have to deal with that. I have never told them, and I do not know if I can. Story 28. I am truly grateful that I did not have my parents in my life while growing up. I have experienced a unique life compared to the average person, which has provided me with a beautiful perspective on life. I have been with various families and lifestyles, ranging from those who are well off to those who are less fortunate. While I still express my feelings about certain traumas, I appreciate the life I have lived. Story 29. I enjoy exploring my interests and am looking for someone to share in this experience. The desire has grown to the point where I would like to be part of a group setting where boundaries can be explored in a safe and consensual manner. Story 30. I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling this way. It's really important to talk to someone who can help you, such as a mental health professional or a trusted person in your life. Story 31. I know who my biological father is. My mother never talks about him, and I never asked her because I know he is connected to her depressing past. It is better not to let her remember those painful memories. She has no idea that I am aware of him. He is a greatly revered and respected figure in my community. He seems so kind and humble with people. I am not entirely clear about the details of what happened back then, but I strongly dislike him. No matter what the reason could have been, you cannot just get a 15-year-old girl pregnant and abandon her. Therefore, regardless of his reasons, I will hate him until his death. I can't even discuss it with others because it feels like a taboo. I am considered an illegitimate child. Story 32. How close I am to actually giving up. I am so incredibly tired of everything. work, society, cooking, eating, showering, brushing my teeth, etc. Story 33. My boyfriend's parents have a reason to dislike me, but it's not because I influenced their son's sexuality. I reported his father for using a homophobic slur, which led to his dismissal. They were never aware that my actions were the reason for his termination. Story 34. Not wanting to burden anyone with the struggles and difficulties of my life, especially regarding financial challenges. Story 35. I wake up every day and look down at my right arm, talking myself out of dragging something from the inside of my elbow down and watching myself bleed. Every single day. Story 36. I agree with the Trump administration's stance on many issues, although I cannot express it publicly. Story 37. I will never share this with anyone in my personal life. I have had a crush on a girl from school for over 8 years. I always told myself I would work on becoming a better version of myself academically, career-wise, and mentally. I have issues related to anger, anxiety, and depression, so I wanted to fix myself first before confessing anything. Lately, things have started looking up, but then I found out she is in a serious relationship with someone else. I am slowly making peace with the fact that I might never get the chance to tell her how I feel or be with her. Still, part of me wishes she knew just how deeply I cared all these years. I just wish she knew. Not necessarily to be in a relationship with me, but just to know. Story 38. When my wife gives me a shopping list and I miss items, I simply tell her they did not have them in stock. Story 39. Sometimes it's hard to tell people in your personal life about difficult experiences, but it's easier to share them online. I confided in a few online friends about being taken advantage of by an older peer before discussing it with either of my brothers. Story 40. My best friend is an escort. She was groomed in the industry. The business operates through a website they created, which is run by a man and his girlfriend. In reality, he was dishonest with the girls about the clients being tested and more. I have considered the possibility of adopting that business model, but without any abuse or deception toward the girls, along with more extensive testing. Story 41. I identify as bisexual. Growing up in the 1980s, I saw straight, gay, and bisexual as the only options. If I were to explain this to someone from Generation Z, it might be understood differently. In order of preference, I am attracted to women, transgender women, crossdressers, and then men. I didn't realize this for years, as I primarily found myself attracted to female traits, which is typically seen as straight. However, organizing my adult content collection revealed my preferences. I even had a folder for attractive male anatomy. I have been married for 14 years and had this realization during my marriage. I might share this with my partner one day, as I believe she would be understanding. I suspect she may already have an idea. At this point, I don't feel the need to explore these feelings in the real world. Story 42. I've lost myself taking Adderall. I've lost my motivation and I am about to lose my job. It's been 1 year and I finally got on Vyvanse, but it's not the same. I am trying to accept that this is me doing what's best. And it is progress. I am really trying to have a positive outlook and move forward to getting back to myself. Sometimes I just feel like it's impossible. I wish it had never come to this. Story 43. It's the anniversary of my mother's death. I can't talk to one sister about it because she cut our mother off 20 years ago, and I can't talk to my other sister as she has been an abusive alcoholic similar to our mother, and we don't have a relationship. I can't talk to my dad because he died a year ago from alcoholism. I'm lonely. I miss her. Even though she put me through a lot, I miss her so much. Story 44. I think about self-exit all the time, but I can't do that to my friends or family, so I just simmer with these thoughts. Story 45. Nice try, but even here I can't say. I will carry this pain that eats me alive every day until the grave. I only pray I have the strength. Story 46. I'm fine now, but I used to hurt myself all the time by cutting. I didn't need therapy or anything, and again, I'm fine. I can't really tell anyone personally about it though, since I believe they will just make it worse by saying whatever I did that for was stupid and that they had it worse. Story 47. I'm only alive because of my dog, but I also feel overwhelmed by the responsibility of taking care of him. I shared this with my girlfriend, who is the only person who knows, and it was fairly recent. I experienced a lot of shame around this. Story 48. I can't let go of our marriage. I dream about her most nights and wake up not wanting to continue with life. It has been 3 years. Story 49. I don't believe anymore. I stopped believing in 3rd grade. I'm just maintaining the appearance because it would make life difficult. Story 50. I'm only 45, but I feel I've already accomplished everything I was supposed to do in this life. I've had a relatively happy life, gotten married, raised a wonderful almost adult son, earned a college degree, lived abroad, traveled the world, and secured a good job. However, I haven't managed to make friends in this country, so there must be something really wrong with me. It is the lack of friends that makes me want to give up. Story 51. Maybe if I had just one more day with you, if I felt a little bit less for you, if I knew more languages, if languages had more letters, or if there were more words made, I could clearly express what I feel for you. Perhaps then fate would be a bit kinder to me and love would be returned. Story 52. When I hung myself, while I was unconscious on the rope, I had a dream about my mother putting me there. The expectations placed on me definitely contributed to my suicide attempt, but I will never tell her that part. Story 53. I often think about my ex from 10 years ago more than I should. A part of me hopes we run into each other one day and pick up where we left off, but I don't think my wife would appreciate that. Story 54. I don't think I'm the right person for my wife's family. Sometimes I feel like I'm not the right person to be my daughter's father. It's a mental struggle that I have to push down each day, but I have to put a positive spin on it and just try my best to be the best father. Story 55. My girlfriend, now my wife, took me skydiving for my 20th birthday a while ago. None of my family knows and will never know. Story 56. I'm secretly and deeply attracted to someone I shouldn't be. She makes very sexual comments in front of my wife and her husband. I can tell it hurts my wife's feelings, but because of who it is, she doesn't say anything. I want this woman so badly, and I'm pretty sure she feels the same way. We have a natural attraction to each other. The way we look at each other and interact reminds me of relationships from the past. I know that if we were left alone for a few hours, we would be intimate. She makes me feel good about myself, and it's the way I wish my wife was toward me. I have intimate dreams about her that are so realistic that I remember them vividly as if I just had the dream. It's crazy. We could never be together. It would hurt my wife deeply. It's probably something I'll take to my grave. Story 57. I want to get rid of this girl who is using me as her best friend. She talked negatively about me to my friends, and it's affecting all of my relationships. Story 58. I do not care about your problems or complaints because I have not yet started to address my own. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.